Hello, I'm John Raymond Baker, and normally I'm doing videos on health-related issues, but today I want to do a video that has to do with our personal liberty and rights and all things like that. You know, recently the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, decided on a case that police can collect your DNA against your will without a warrant, and they use the reasoning that your DNA is basically no more invasive than a fingerprint or taking your picture. And I really object to that because obviously, on a procedural standpoint, you don't have to open your mouth for them to take your fingerprint. And a fingerprint does not contain the amount and degree of information that your DNA contains. Now, they rule that they can take your DNA, and I emphasize the word take, not ask you for it, without any proof of guilt. In other words, if you're stopped and the policeman that stops you doesn't like you and arrests you, he has the legal ability to force you to open your mouth, stick a swab in your mouth, and scrape some cells off the inner lining of your mouth. Why is this a problem? Well, it's a problem to me because the DNA can reveal a lot about you that right now is protected under HIPAA. Health records that are maintained about you can't just be. You can't have a policeman just wandering into your doctor's office when you're not guilty of anything and just grab your medical records. And yet the DNA reveals a lot more about you than your medical records. You know, your hair color, your sex, a lot of these things are recorded in your DNA. So you might think of the DNA being an encapsulated library about you. So what would be the purpose of getting the DNA of someone who is arrested but there's no proof of guilt? To me, that's a clear violation of our Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable searches and seizures without warrants being issued. I personally don't see any reason that the police should have the right to take, again, use the word take, your DNA against your will if you're not guilty of anything. Just being arrested, you can be arrested just because a policeman doesn't like you, just because he thinks you're quote-unquote obstructing justice or you're being disorderly. I don't really know what disorderly means, but disorderly conduct is often used. So the point is, are we going to just sit around and watch our Fourth Amendment rights go down the drain, or are we going to speak up against it? This NSA, PRISM, Blarney, all these other weird named spying operations, they're also violating our Fourth Amendment rights. And if we sit back and say, that's fine, do whatever you want to us, it'll continue, it'll get worse. Because one thing I've learned in 60 years is that if you want a bully to be taking advantage of you and bullying you more and going more outrageously against you every day, don't do anything to oppose him. Just be a mild, meek person, and he'll just take advantage of you in every way he can. Same is true with the government, apparently. They're taking advantage of citizens because we're not fighting back. We're not demanding our rights. We're not saying, hey, you can't come in my house without a warrant. You can't open my mouth and swab it out to get my DNA for no reason. But the Supreme Court is going along with these things. And parenthetically, the Supreme Court also ruled that the police have no duty to protect you as a person. That was decided in a case, and I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. But and also be aware of this, that it's against the law for you to lie to a police person. It's not against the law for them to lie to you. It's kind of one-sided. So anyway, that's my rant, and I'm hoping that you will join others in opposing these violations of our rights, because You know, a lot of people have died in wars that we could have those rights. And for us to allow these rights to be taken from us without opposing them really is a slap in the face of all those soldiers throughout the decades, throughout the centuries that America's been around. So thanks for listening to my rant. Have a great day. Bye-bye.